Hey folks, just a quick heads up before this video starts. I've had 2 teeth removed this week, still really painful. I've got a massive hole in the side of my jaw, so my voice is going to sound a little weird. I might lisp a little bit, or I might get a bit of a that sort of gummy noise. I apologise. I've tried to keep it under control, but my tongue is trying to deal with talking with a massive hole in the side of my jaw, so I apologise in advance. Hey folks, how's it all going? Hope you're keeping safe out there. Today I'm doing a Marvel Legends review, and it's the Marvel Legends Retro Wave. Well, it's the Lizard, and my god, this is a nice looking figure. I've been looking forward to this one since it was announced. I actually cancelled my pre-order originally because I was trying to save a bit of money. Happened to get a little bit of extra cash from doing some overtime and thought, well, I've just had 2 teeth yanked out of the dentist. I need something to numb the pain more than painkillers, so I ordered this guy. And yeah, he is a beautiful figure, folks. I mean, just look at this thing. It is fantastic. Very classic. I dare say timeless. But yeah, anyway, you know I like to do things around here. Bit of backstory. Though, to be fair, if you want like a really great version of the backstory, recommend checking out the Merry Marvelites channel. Fantastic. Just better than anything I could do. But you're here now, so might as well listen to a quick rundown. First appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man issue 6. I'm not going to guess at the year, I'll throw it up on the screen. Basically the story of a Dr. Kirk Connors who lost his arm while serving in the army as a, doctor. Goes to the Florida Everglades, I think it is, with his family, to try and work on a serum to replicate the ability of lizards to regrow limbs. It works, he gets his arm back, but unfortunately also turns into a lizard man. Luckily, however, this is a Spider-Man book, so of course Spider-Man turns up and is able to cure him and turn him back into Kirk Connors. Unfortunately for him, he turned out to be a really popular villain, so over the years he's returned multiple times with multiple artists doing slightly different renditions of him, all of them really, really great, and he's gone from like pretty much inception to now without doing much of a change. There's been weird times in between, but the classic look always returns, which is great because I really like the whole just giant lizard in purple pants, black shirt and a lab coat. It's comic book goofiness, but it's classic comic book goofiness, and I really like it. He has of course also appeared in other media as well, being such a popular character. He's appeared in stuff like the old 1960s Spider-Man cartoon, in a very classic and very goofy looking look. Goofy looking design. He appeared in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, probably my favourite version of him actually aesthetically. Just a big, towering, terrifying lizard. I loved every episode he was in. He was always such a scary but captivating, sad villain. And of course he was also the main villain in the Amazing Spider-Man, the Andrew Garfield film. In my money, I actually think those 2 are the best Spider-Man films. I know I'm going to catch some stick for that, but I really do like them. He was the villain in them, and he also did, of course, appear in a later film, which I'm probably not going to spoil, but yeah, he appears in a later film as well. And nowadays in the comic books, I think he lives with his wife and son, who are now also lizard people. They both died over the years. His wife had died from cancer after being exposed to toxic waste from the facility nearby where they were living in the Everglades. And his son was, eaten by the lizard persona as like an act of dominance. But Kirk Connors is now just fully in control. They were both brought pardon me. They were both brought back in that clone conspiracy. And to save them from dying in the end of that, because all the people that got resurrected in that series as clones started to die at the end. It turned them into lizards. Bit iffy to begin with, but they soon adapted and are themselves again. So now Kirk Connors lives in the sewers with his son and hot lizard wife. What? Yeah, you can't yuck my yum over that one. She's cute. There was literally a whole episode in the original, in the 90s cartoon where they basically just introduced a female lizard character in there, and yeah, she was hot, and I will stand by that. Yeah, no king shaming here. But yeah, the Lizards also had a few figures over the years, including one in like the classic '90s toy line which I had as a kid, which was amazing. And there was also some others from Toy Biz. The last like really significant one was the Build-A-Figure from Hasbro. It was alright. It was a bit more dinosaur-like than it really being the Lizard, and I never got it because it was a Build-A-Figure and it went for silly money. A lot less nowadays with the retro one now being released, but it was okay. But as I say, never got it. But that brings us back to this figure, which is, well, just look at it. It's great. This figure is entirely new sculpt and it just looks fantastic. It's the classic design of the Lizard, as I said, just a giant lizard in purple pants, black shirt, a lab coat, and yeah, it's fantastic. The colours are all great. The sculpt work is amazing. It has a bendable rubber tail with a wire in it. Something fans have wanted for years in a modern Marvel Legends figure because we had it in old versions, but new ones tend not to have it. It works really well. As you can see, like the paint is minimal. It's got a nice wash over the green of the scaly skin, a little bit to bring out some definition in the pants, but the rest of it is quite, well, minimalistic and bare, but it kind of really works with how over the top the character design is. And the sculpting on it is just fantastic. Everything's got a wonderful classic look to it. It's all pinless as well, I mean to say. So that it's a great great modern Marvel Legends, no pins showing through to break up the sculpt. The head it comes with in the box is the classic first appearance Lizard, so like no teeth and white eyes with little pupils. Kind of silly, but at the same time, as I say, it's classic and I really like the look of it. As well as, being being sculpted really well, it's articulated really well. It has that Power Rangers Lightning Collection diaphragm joint thing, so it's really articulated there. Apart from that, it's got the standard Marvel Legends of double hinged elbows and knees, universal shoulders and hips, ankle tilts and swivels, wrist tilts and swivels. All in all, fantastic with a really nice just eye to having articulation that doesn't break up the sculpt too much. I mean, there's not really any pose you could want to get this figure in that you won't get into. I mean, it maybe having some toe articulation, like the recent Renew Your Vows Spider-Man figure, would have maybe put him over the top and made him like perfectly articulated. But we can't expect miracles just yet. As far as accessories go, as well as the hands he comes with, which is one clawed hand and one sort of sprayed out wall crawling hand, he comes with a fist, a gripping hand, and an alternative head sculpt which is a bit more modern-esque. It's a lizard with the tongue out with bared teeth and yellowed eyes. A bit more, as I say, modern, less goofy than the classic look. And don't get me wrong, I like the classic one, but as you can see, this one is definitely more threatening than the classic one, shall we say. More lizard-like from like the late 80s, early 90s. Not the modern one exactly, because the modern lizard is a much more hulking figure of a character. But this one is, as I say, a more threatening lizard if that's what you want. Oh, and it also comes with two really great accessories. I can't believe I almost forgot these. A pair of lab beakers. I don't know quite what the technical name is for them. The one that's round, the one that's sort of like triangular. They look great. They're done in clear plastic with coloured plastic inside to look like chemicals. The effect works better on one than it does the other, but they're okay. They fit in the open hand really well, or can rest on the they fit in the gripping hand really well and can rest on the open hand okay. They both look really good, but it does bring up one issue I have with this figure really is the hands. We have 4 unique sculpted hands, but that kind of means we have 4 halves of what we really need. Like I say, we've got one fist, one wall crawling hand, one clawing hand, one holding thing hand. And like, I'd have happily just not got the beakers and just had 4 sets of hands because, yeah, technically we've got every base covered, but some of them would work much better with a matching partner. And I think that's the only real thing I can say against this figure is I wish I had like maybe one less set of hands, but maybe one less hand option, but have like 3 sets, like a pair of fists, a pair of splayed open hands, and a pair of holding things hands. A pair of gripping hands. That's the right way of saying it. But as I say, apart from that, the figure just looks great with all the accessories it comes with, and I absolutely love it. And actually, with all those hands, it does actually bring up something I think is really cool. Now, there was an old issue of Spider-Man where, after curing the lizard for the umpteenth time, Spider-Man was accidentally hit with lizard energy, and he turned into a lizard himself, the Spider Lizard. Comic book goofiness, but looked really cool, and you can actually, with the accessories that come with this guy, you can kind of pull it off. I mean, I can't do customs, but this I think still kind of works. I know it's just the heads have to be blue tacked on because the ball on the this is the Renew Your Vow Spider-Man. The ball on the on the neck is slightly too big, but the wrists accommodate the hands really well. You'd maybe have to stick like a pin in or drill a pin into the back end of the Spider-Man figure to keep the tail in, because that's just blue tacked at the moment. But as I said, I'm not a customizer, but this is like 2/3 of the way to being a really great Spider Lizard figure. All you'd have to maybe do is maybe remove the feet at the ankles and swap over the lizard. I'm really tempted to maybe pick up an extra one of each. Okay, I won't because I'm not made of money, but you know, the parts are there to make a heck of a great extra figure with like minimum, that's it, minimum new sculpting, maybe some torn sleeves and torn pants. I'm just saying it's there. But yeah, as I say, this figure is fantastic. I'll compare him now to some other ones in my collection. Up first, it's got to be Spider-Man, and it's got to be, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man and the one that best suits this figure, because they're both such high quality. It's the Spider-Man from the Renew Your Vows 2-pack. Spidey's a little bit bigger than the Lizard, but in those early depictions of the Lizard, he wasn't like the hulking boot he is nowadays, so it does definitely work, and they both look great next to each other. The colours complement and contrast so perfectly, it just looks, spectacular. Here he is with a slightly smaller figure, the Into the Spider-Verse Gwen Stacy Ghost Spider / Spider-Gwen figure. It's suitably good. Looks great with her. You can display the two together really well if you know the comic books of his history between Spider-Gwen and her version of the Lizard, which is quite sad, but it works. Here he is with another Florida resident who ended up turning themselves into a monster through science. The Man-Thing, they have crossed over a little bit in the comic books, and the two look good together. Again, another scientist who turned himself into a giant monster. The Incredible Hulk, this is the 80th anniversary one. Think about it, Kirk Connors and Bruce Banner must shop at the same place, because they both wear purple pants, a black shirt, and a lab coat most of the time. Yeah, especially if we got a figure. Yeah, we could probably get a decent figure that could represent both of them by switching out like the arm and the head. There's a thought. And the comparison I really, really need to make, this is the new cannot speak, sorry, my tooth cavity's killing me at the minute. This is the retro one compared to the one that's been on my shelf for years. This is the Toy Biz Lizard that came in the Fearsome Foes 4-pack. My go-to lizard for years. Is sculpted really well, painted really well, but as you can see, compared to this new one, it just looks gangly. I mean, the paint detailing and the sculpt detailing is fantastic on it, and it has an articulated jaw, but compared to this new one, I really do prefer the new one. I have a place in my heart for this one, the old one, but yeah, he's definitely getting replaced. Now, I must admit, I do like how the old one has a slightly more tattered and dirty looking lab coat, but I think that's just because this one's got more clean first appearance comic book aesthetic going on. So yeah, folks, that's my review of the figure. I just cannot recommend this figure enough. He's fantastic. If you're a Spider-Man fan, you're definitely going to have to get this figure. He fits in so well with all the other Spider-Man figures out there. And if you're not necessarily a Spider-Man collector, just a Marvel Legends collector, he's a great modern Marvel legend with loads of great accessories and new sculpting, and the retro aesthetic just works really well, and this is the kind of thing we need Hasbro to know that we want. Yes, I've got my gripes here and there. I say mainly with just not having matching sets of hands is kind of a bummer, because it sort of limits what you can do. But apart from that, I really can't complain about anything on this figure. It does everything I want it to do. If you can get this figure, I recommend it. He's still, I think, at places like Kapow and In Demand and Comics and Cocktails. I think Hasbro Pulse might still have him for pre-order. He's not too expensive, to be fair. It was like 30 quid. I think that's what it cost me. So that's not a bad price for, well, it's the standard price nowadays for a standalone like Marvel Legends Deluxe release, so I can't really complain, but yeah, I'd definitely say it's worth it. So yeah, so if you like the review, please leave a like, leave a comment, and maybe subscribe for more videos in the future. I'm not entirely sure what my next review will be, but hopefully it'll be a good one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, folks. Until next time, I want you all to stay safe, stay sane, and keep on rolling. And I'll see you all next time. Ta-da!